doing this and working on this, we're also learning our harmony. You know, it's not surprising that jazz students are really good in theory class, or they should be, because we're taking what the music theory professor is talking about and applying it to our instrument right away. You know, we talk about triads and voice leading, that's what we're doing. Whether we're thinking about it or not, we're doing it. So we need to be able to spell our chords very quickly, because the chord happens and we need to play it. Okay? Okay, so one of the things that I think about is, I'll take one position. Say we're like in the key of F. You guys can bring your guitar. That's cool. Okay, so think about my F scale, and then I'll do, say I'm working on my vertical business, I'll do all the intervals. Right? Imposition power chords, I call it this. Okay, 6 and so forth. Alright, so that's all of this business. And then I make sure that I know all the chords in that. And you can, all of the chords, again, it might be a tough thing, but I make sure that I know maybe my drop 3s, the drop 2s in that position, so that I have sort of that area covered. Okay? The next thing I'll do is to make sure I know all of my arpeggios in that position. So have you guys worked on 1 octave arpeggios, 2 octave arpeggios? What's been the...
Sort of based it out of caged.
Okay, cool, yeah, all right. So then this might be maybe a little new. So I'll do my whole in position. Right, I'm in major, so my next chord is, I'm in F major. I did F major 7, so then I have, and I stay right in this position, I don't move out of it. Right? A minor. So I try not to move. And so forth, right? Okay, so then in the C7, and then all the way through. And then I go to the next area, and I do the same thing. And then I go to the next area. So for me, there's 7 areas. And it's really easy to remember. So we have first finger on the low E string, if I'm in F. First finger on the D string, pinky. Second finger, first finger, pinky, second finger. And then I'm back to my first finger one, right? Okay, so I kind of use this as my guide. This is how I think about it, because that's where I started all of my scales and arpeggios. Okay, is from that. And that's more of the Levitt, the Berkeley method of things. Okay, but I can cover the whole fingerboard with that. So I cover all the diatonic in each one of those 7 positions. So one way is to connect them going, you know, all right, here's all of my F major 7s. Here's all of my G minor 7s, which is great, and you should do that. But chord progressions move, right? They don't stay on one chord unless you're kind of playing some jam stuff. So I need to be able to do that all in one position. Okay, does that make sense? So then we do that in major, and then where do we go?
Minor?
Sure, natural minor. Where do you want to go from there?
Harmonic minor?
You should probably do harmonic minor. One more?
Melodic minor?
Do melodic minor too. Yep. So once you do that, you can pick one root note, say F. You do it in F major, you do it in F minor, you do it F harmonic minor, F melodic minor. You're in pretty good shape. Next day, go to B flat. Okay? So we talked about vertical intervals. We talked about vertical arpeggios through those scales. Any questions on that? No? We're good? Okay. So then the next thing you do is horizontal. So where do I start? We were doing this a little bit earlier. So here's my F scale. Everything on a single string. Each single string. And then I do my intervals on single string. So I'm in F. What do you want to start with? Seconds? Sure. Have you done this?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, good. Thirds? You get the idea? Fourths, fifths. So I'm not only exploring things this way, I'm exploring things this way. And then somehow I have to get the whole thing across. So what's one good way to do that? I need a method. without like going to somebody's fingering method and saying, I'm practicing and I need to get from here to here. How am I going to do that?
Trial and error.
Yeah, it takes too much time though. I don't have time. It's only 24 hours and I have to sleep at least 4 or 5. I guess I'll 5 myself. Give me one way to get from here to here.
Practice.
I don't know. I need a method. I can't just go from here to here. I can't put it in GPS. Jill, the professor's like, we do this all the time. These guys don't know. Come on.
Like a line.
Okay, how? I need a method. I need to come up with a
Well, you can
method.
come with a bunch of different methods of putting what string you'll shift.
Okay, I can shift. I have a certain string I can shift on. Let's write this down. I can shift on a string. What else? What's another idea? How about shifting on a certain... I'm fishing now.
Finger, lure.
Okay, we could do finger. I like that one. Finger's a good one. Or interval. That's the one I was going for. So, let's pick an interval to shift on. How about a half step? I stole this. This is John Schofield. So, there's my way. So, I only shifted when I got to a half step. We'll do it again. T goes to do, and I shifted. And then I just fixed that to get there. Okay? I could also have done it here. I'm thinking about it now. Okay? But it was only on a half step where I shifted. So you have to come up with some kind of method. You can't do this like, oh, I'll just practice. Practice what? You need to know the what. Always know the what. Or else you're just wasting time. That 30 minutes for scales will go by and you haven't done anything. It's too much. There's not enough time in the day. Okay? Okay, what about string? So let's pick a string. What string do you want to shift on?
D.
Okay, shift on the D string. So I'm going to play in position. When I get to the D, I'm going to shift. I don't know how far. I just have to get to the next note. Then what do I do? I don't know, but I'll... Okay, I made it up there. Okay? I did some other stuff. I just did 3 note per string, right? But I shifted on the D string, you know? So then you would go through all of them and shift on the D string and see how far you can go. Okay? Because it's important. We end up in weird spots when we're improvising. Right? So we did string and then finger. What finger do you want to shift on?
Third.
What'd you say?
Third.
Don't pick third. We don't... okay, fine. Fine, third. I can't start here though because I don't have a third finger. Oh, you know what I'll do? I'll do the other 11 fingers. Okay, I got it. Fine, third finger. But see, you're just playing games with yourself. I've never practiced that. I don't think I'll ever play that. But I could do it. Again, in the class when we were talking about don't choose things because you can't do it. Be able to do it, and then choose like, no, I'm not going to play that because that's a crappy finger. Okay, so you guys get the idea of this, though. It should open up the fingerboard because now there's not this limitation of this or even this. The single string thing's cool, but that can still box you in. But now we're all over the place. Okay, and then you end up in ruts of the same stuff that you do. It's not so much like this on the piano, right? You kind of have some fingerings that work. We have this weird thing.
Yeah.
Cello, do we encounter weird things like that too?
I think if we practice to improvise, we'd do it completely differently.
Yeah.
From what we do, but.
Oh, from what you
from the way we do it, yeah.
Yeah.
And we have standard fingerings, and there's probably 2 different ways.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. So I mean, there's 3 different ways. Well, we didn't even talk about open strings. Oh, forget it. I mean, they're like this. So there's probably hundreds of ways to do this, I'm thinking. Right? So, that's why we end up with. Right? Why not? It's just one finger. You know how much great music has been made with that? What am I thinking of? I Shot the Sheriff, right? I mean, there's riffs upon riffs upon riffs, just in that pentatonic, right? But we're talking about mastery of the fingerboard now. That's really what we're talking about. We're talking about John Abercrombie, we're talking about Sco and Matheny and Stern and Rosenwinkel and Adam Rogers and Ben Monder and all of these guys who have the fingerboard down so well. They probably would tell you that they don't, but they have it down so well that, but I would guess that they would do things like this. The scale thing, this thing, the arpeggios can work the same way, but we have to have some standardized fingerings. And I'll just do a quick thing with the arpeggios, especially on the D string, where we're sort of in the middle and we do a lot of stuff on the D string. Make sure that you can play an arpeggio off of each finger. For the E string and the A string, it's still this thing, okay? So say I was going to do, right? I can do all that, right? And then you move on. But this string, for whatever reason, I can do. Oh, it's got my third. So I can do it off each finger. Okay? So the idea is that we were talking about this earlier, is that when I'm improvising, I get stuck in a spot. And I might end up on a finger. And if I don't know where to go from that finger, I have to stop. And then I go somewhere else. I had a chance to study a little bit with Pat Martino. And he did some really weird stuff, like at the 0 fret. He would do like, have you seen that, Bob? And he can do everything from every finger. Everything that he plays, if you've seen him, he's very fluid. And he does weird stuff like he'll end up on his pinky and then do that. So he goes. So that he's on his pinky, he ends up on his pinky. And then I can't do it. That's why he's got Martino and I'm not. He'll do that to get here. But he'll do it like so quickly that you won't even see him do it. So, I think everybody eventually comes up with their own thing, but it's not getting stuck. And hopefully later you'll see me get stuck, because I get stuck sometimes. I get stuck in my head, I'm like playing, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, we should probably pay the bills tomorrow. There's probably something to do. My wife's laughing because she does all that. But I'll think like, oh, I need to do this tomorrow. And then I'm like, where am I? I forget. So, what am I going to have for dinner afterwards? Okay? Any questions on the fingerboard stuff? And methodically, I go about this with my students. Like, okay, can you do this? And I quiz them every week on it. Can you do this? No? Okay. We were talking about the Swiss cheese method. It's a Swiss cheese. I'm trying to find all the holes that they have, and I'm trying to fill them in. Because I want a nice big piece of cheddar cheese and not Swiss. I don't know. I have stupid analogies. As soon as I go to the sports stuff, then you're out. Did you have something?
I was just going to ask, when you're improvising, do you see scale and chord positions lining up? Or is that important?
Yeah, I do, and I think so. I think about the fingerboard this way. There's a fretlight guitar that's out that you can buy, and there's a little button that says, okay, I'm in A harmonic minor, and then all of those. Have you guys seen this? Okay, it's totally a gimmick, but that's what I see in my head on the fingerboard, more than with that. I was like, oh, that's what's in my head. Why would I buy that? So, and that's what I'm working towards, is having that light up. And I do see it around. So, if I have a B flat 7, I'm in the blues. 13, it goes back to like knowing where all the notes are and then a chord to go harmonizing with it. So I have the 5th, flat 5, 13, flat 9, natural 13. So I know that's diminished. Okay, another diminished chord. Sharp 5, so that could be. So I think about it all around the chord. Because I'm also trying to use my ear. I mean, we haven't really talked about that, and that's probably the most important thing, to be honest, is that when you hear something and you hear a chord, you need to know what that note is going to sound like against that chord, because it has an impact, right? 9 sounds very different. To me, that's very consonant sounding. 13 and 9, beautiful, very inside, kind of a westing. not saying that like, oh, I know my harmony. But I've studied my harmony so that I can hear something and react to it. Because there's only so many sounds out there. You know, actually, I've been teaching oral skills this year. And at Berkeley, when we did it, we did a very pop-oriented oral skill. So I'm making my students learn, what does a sus4 sound like? I mean, they need to know what that sounds like. And what sus2 sounds like. Which in traditional harmony, you would never ask them to do that, but, I mean, free falling. I mean, that's it. And then they go, oh, that's free falling. And they'll never forget what the sus2 and the sus4 sounds like. Because they can relate it. So we need to now listen to these jazzier sounds and relate that. So that it all kind of comes together. And I try to really pay attention to what it sounds like, where it is, and exactly what the notes are too. That's really important. Like, it's cool to like say, oh, I know this shape and I know this shape, you know? But as you're working on it, make sure you know exactly what you're playing. Because this area of the guitar, there's some pictures on Facebook. I was doing an improv clinic at University of Minnesota, and there's a picture of me doing this. Because this is the black hole of the guitar. Is there a black hole in the cello where you get in a certain spot and it's like, I don't know, I mean, not you, but like students go, I don't know what I'm doing and I could be somewhere else. I don't know.
There's this seam between the neck positions, we call them, and then thumb position, and then it's no man's land in between.
Okay, good. I feel better now. Thank you. See, talk to the street people. I'm not even kidding. You have to talk to everyone. We're all in this together. So this is only 12 notes, at least in Western music, right? So anyway, this area is really kind of no man's land. That's our no man's land. Because we have an interval of third and we're not sure which ones. You know, maybe some of us are good. Elvis, you good there? Yeah. Okay, which means no, he needs to go practice it. That's really what he's telling us. Sorry, I'm picking on you. I pick on my students all the time, but they remember stuff. Okay, so that's no man's land. So there's a couple of really cool exercises for that. One is, have you ever guys practiced the one note per string? So you pick a note. Please say C. So I can do it with C. Okay, do it. I'll say C. Well, that tune, sorry. Okay, those are all the C's. With the metronome. F. Okay? Then you go B flat. So I can't think about the notes. And because I do cycle 4, there's no patterns. If I did it chromatically, I would just go, oh, I'm up a half step. And I have these fret things that the cello players don't have to worry about intonation. So I have these fret things, so I just press it and it's pretty much in tune. So chromatic doesn't really work because it's really difficult. You know, it's too much of a pattern, so I do cycle 4. Okay? Want to know the next one? There's a bunch of them. This is by this guy, Charlie Bonacos. So he's passed recently, but great educator in Boston area. So the next one is C major scale. One note of the C major scale per string. Okay? So C, what's the next note? Help me, I'm just learning the guitar. C. A, then I go back down to the low string. B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F. It's been a long day, sorry guys. E, F, G, A, B, C, D. I'm almost there. E, F, G, A, B. Back to where I started. All the way around, okay? So that's kind of a cool one. Do that with 12 keys, you know, with all your scales. You're going to know where the notes are. You cannot not know where the notes are. Because there's no there's kind of a pattern, but every key you're going to start on the lowest note, and you're going to keep going around. So you're going to have to really know what the notes are. So you're really learning your harmony. You know, I mean, that's it. These guys, the greats, like I said, from 70 on, were more book educated. Now, I'm not to say that Coltrane knew his stuff, but Wes Montgomery played by ear. And you're going, all that great music, and he played by ear. He couldn't read music. George Benson doesn't read music. I would trade my licks for George Benson's licks every day of the week. Here. Thank you very much. You know. So, but that's another really good one. So one note of the scale per string, okay? And you're really starting to work it out. And there's others, you do single string things like that, arpeggios. But that's really fun. I'll send you some stuff.
Question I was going to ask you. I know when I started out, I could play some stuff, but it was mostly earballing, and I didn't really know what I was doing. And so I would get stuck. I would just be out on a cliff and suddenly fall off the cliff. And how do you make the transition from what I would say is intuitive playing to, or make the link between intuitive playing and knowing what the hell you're doing? Maybe
That's a good question. I think it was really paying attention to like knowing what I was playing and not playing anything faster than I knew what I was playing. So, if I was playing on an A minor 7 chord, I wouldn't just go, oh, I know this. Like, so I play that, I would say, A, B, C, E, D. What does D sound like? Oh, that's an 11. Stop and listen to it. And really just kind of freeze frame. Jimmy Bruno, great jazz guitar player, talks about it as like freezing the measure and then playing on top of that measure and then freezing the next measure and then putting them together. So I think that's really important. Playing over static chords so that you can hear when you play a wrong note, you can hear what that wrong note is. So I'll do things like this. What scale do you use? Flat 5. Okay. Major 6. So you do things like that. Play a chord, play a note. Do you know what note it is? Then you go to 2. Play a chord, play 2 notes. What 2 notes is? And then you start diatonic, and then you go chromatic. And you really start to be able to hear it. So things like that. And then I would incorporate it because I was just jamming on blues stuff. I wanted to tap, and they're like, don't tap in jazz. Because all the notes really work. As long as I can hear that's 9, 1, 7, 13, you know what I mean? So I would like really take my time and listen. I think that's really important. It goes back to what we were talking about before. And then hear how the chromatic notes. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh, it's the pop. Okay. Pop. Yeah. Thanks. That's good. I tend to go off on random thoughts. Yeah. So that's the triangle I really see: is pop music, jazz, improvised music, and then classical. They're not so far away from each other. And like the technique stuff that I was talking to you about, I try to do that on the electric, Now I'm not supposed to roll on the classical. We would do, one finger, but I try to keep good posture with that. You know what I mean? And not get too crazy. And I think it helps my health too, because I'm not moving so much. Adam Rogers is a great one for that. If you watch him, because he actually has 2 degrees in classical guitar, so he definitely took that. He's burned. Oh gosh. Here, I'm done. So something else? A couple more minutes here. What do you guys have? Other questions? That help? Give you some things to think about? Correct. Yeah. Yeah, it's so much, man. It's just we're all working on it.